All right. Welcome back, Enemies of the Fire. We are here with another episode, and today we're going to get into all things World Cup travel. We're going to get into the Twitter beef and all the other nonsense associated with the return of the glorious Red Kit, and we're going to do a deep dive on the Chicago Fire roster with transfer moves that we've seen and things we still need to see. So I am FC Neo Tokyo. The man over here never messes up his transfer paperwork. That is James. And DPG is still not buying what the Fire is selling. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Let's go. Feeling good. Let's go, Toke. Let's go, DPG. How you doing?
Oh man, it's one of those days, where you're constantly checking for updates, and the magic's not happening.
Oh man, the timeline is over, brother. There's no more checking every minute of the day. Yeah, I can't wait to get to it because I do believe that James and I are more positive than DPG is on this.
Okay, I'll tell you why.
I went in a deep dive, boys. I can't wait to tell you about it. I went into a deep dive on Cuypers. We'll get into that. I'm excited to talk about my 20 minutes of research in another language.
Oh my God, yeah, James dove deep into this. He really sunk his teeth in. So I don't even know when this happened. Was this today or was this yesterday?
Oh, I did a little research today. Well, actually, into the Cuypers and into World Cup. So we got a spicy episode 2 of Enemies of Fire for you folk. Let's start into it. So World Cup, right? World Cup in America, USA, Canada, Mexico. We got 2 destinations in Canada, Vancouver and Toronto. You got the east side and kind of the midwestern area of Canada with Toronto. It covers the east coast as well.
I mean, that's still the east coast. I think anything east of that people can't survive in.
Well, Alberta, Calgary, and then there's the Yukon before Vancouver. Right? Yeah, and Calgary is where you find all the dinosaur bones for a reason. Meanwhile, America has Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles completing the West Coast turn. You got Dallas and Kansas City and Houston representing the Midwest. And over on the East Coast, you got Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Miami. Welcome to Miami.
Wait, it's not New York, though. It's not New York. Where is it?
New Jersey.
East Rutherford, New Jersey.
There's that funny meme
going around.
That
wants to be New York.
There's that funny meme going around where it's like, hey, the World Cup's playing in New York. And then one guy goes like, is it? And he goes, yeah, New York. Yeah, New York. Is it really?
Yeah.
By the way, have you guys registered to...
Yep. Good point.
To do the World Cup tickets?
Absolutely great point,
No.
DPG. Everybody right now, pause your video, go register, go to Google FIFA World Cup tickets. Don't trust any website but FIFA. And go and basically put your email in, and they'll let you know when World Cup tickets are available. I don't know if you get to put in locations of what you want, or if it's kind of first come, first serve.
But really, it's just like wherever, huh?
And speaking of that, we're gonna get into what the destination is for you, the viewer, and we got a couple ideas for you along the line. So, guys,
wait, hold on. I have to stop you.
Sure. Before we
get
into it,
are we literally talking about that you can buy tickets or you can pre-order tickets now and put on a down payment?
You're not. You're not pre-ordering.
Okay.
You're just on an email list to get notified. They get your email. Okay. They get their grubby hands on their.
It's going to be like a lottery system.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, brutal.
So you definitely want. Yeah.
We're not just competing with each other in the U.S., but we're also competing against all the deep pockets across the world.
Oh, DPG! Not that people should be doing this, but sounds like it might be advantageous to use all of your email accounts. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean.
And
I knew there was a reason you was using WhatsApp. No, I'm kidding.
Also, I didn't talk about it, but there are 3 Mexican destinations as well: Monterrey, Mexico City, and Guadalajara.
There's one in there that sounds tasty, man. You brought this up. You brought up the destinations. You brought up what's the coolest one of these to go to.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments, guys, what your preferred destination would be to go for one of these World Cup destinations, one of these World Cup stadiums. We want to read your comments. We love to read them here at Enemies of the Fire. We might be enemies, but we're still allies.
I will say though, at the stadium, I think it's BBVA in Monterey, looks amazing.
Yes, that storage stadium is gorgeous.
It looks amazing. It's a newer modern stadium, and the backdrop is like this giant mountain in the background. Looks amazing. Like the stadium itself looks amazing. The landscape of it looks amazing. So if I were to pick the place I would like to go watch a game, it'd probably be Monterey.
Well, you just made my list, DPG. The list of best vacation destinations, that is Mexico City, Miami, and Monterey. That rounds out my top 3 World Cup venues, best vacation destinations. But we got more for you, viewers. Closest to Chicago, you'll never guess. But I ran the numbers, I did the math, I crunched, I did a little map questing. Yes, it's still available for a special select few if you're in the club. Kansas City, Toronto, Philadelphia, Atlanta. Those are your 4 best, closest destinations to Chicago.
If we're talking closest, the best two, obviously, like, I will admit, I've been to Kansas City once in my life, and I had an amazing time. I actually got free Royals tickets just because I was, like, talking to some dudes in the parking lot. So, like, Kansas City was cool and all, but man, I like the East Coast. I would be excited about Philly.
Mm-hmm. I want to say that I kind of will be excited to go to Toronto. I don't know why. I think Toronto is probably a little bit more attractive than Philly or Kansas City.
Well, it's a foreign destination,
and it's a foreign destination. Yeah, you get to try Tim Hortons. The coffee, the donuts,
When in Canada.
When in Canada. Just the same shit as Dunkin' Donuts, just called something different?
It's not.
No?
Look,
okay.
man.
They're totally different.
If my cup doesn't say Tim Hortons on it, it doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Dunkin' Donut,
count. DPG knows. I've
have
already
either of you been to Toronto?
I've already had my cup of Tim Hortons, and
nope, never been to Toronto.
I've already had my cup of Tim Hortons up in Toronto.
Did you like it?
I want to visit Vancouver next.
Fair. I was too young to truly enjoy it. Like, I was with my parents.
Oh, it's great for a kid, Hawks, and we had a good time. It's great for like a Hawks game in Toronto. But beyond the sports, there, it was just like it felt really like Chicago Junior in a way.
Interesting.
Well, my thing too is now thinking about it. They're playing this game in the BMO field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? It's not in anything bigger? It's just BMO?
Oh, wow. But they got to have grass.
That's a small stadium. That's probably.
But you want to spend a vacation in Toronto? I mean, it is going to be July, so it's not exactly going to be cold or anything. And you do have the Great Lakes right there, which, to be honest, no sharks. Sorry, salt lifers. But the other thing I skipped right over when we were talking about best vacation destinations, Mexico City, and I think Toke was excited about this. Me too. This is why I made my list of destinations. Mexico City, you can go see the Teotihuacan pyramids. Sorry if I just butchered that name. Teotihuacan.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt it, but you're right. You could see the pyramids, like, and it's just like that. The 2 places that I would love to visit is Mexico City and Tokyo. Just these mega cities. You know what I mean? Like,
keep in mind that Mexico City, I believe last time I heard it, I think they're the city with the most Michelin restaurants.
Oh, really?
So, no way.
So if you go to Mexico City, obviously. Anytime
Michelin's
you go
just a tire company, guys.
Didn't that trip you out when you got older and realized it was?
It is. Company? Michelin, the tire company, is the people who run the Michelin restaurant, and they have secret Michelin people who come in. Gordon Ramsay somehow figured it out. Like, he had somebody who had an in. He knew that they were coming to his restaurant. Basically, he did so much. There's little fun stories with the Michelin people. They're like
everybody
a little
wants
secret
a Michelin
society.
star. That's all it is.
Right? But it has to do with driving places and to roadside attractions that are for good food that aren't necessarily the most expensive or anything. But it's culinary divinity.
I mean, that's me. I always wanted to check out eating a taco in Mexico City.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's like the most basic form of wanting to go to a place and trying something. Not just that, but of course, Mexico City is a huge city. It's bigger than Chicago.
Oh, it's gigantic.
And there's a lot to look at.
There's history too.
There's history, yeah.
Miami, I'm also keen on too because of the beaches and GTA 6 coming out in the next year or so. It's like I'm kind of keen on Miami, even though Mrs. Spitfire, my wife says it's all right. It's fun for a visit. You know, she's used to the Florida lifestyle. She says it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Florida is its own.
It's its own country.
It's its own universe.
It's its own country. You're right.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I just looked because DPG was talking about 8.8 million people in Mexico City. 8.8 million in the city limits.
That's going to be a big city to go to. I mean, that's on par with New York.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is for sure. Like almost exactly. I mean, and it's only a 4-hour flight. So,
wow.
You know, what are you guys doing next weekend?
I also have flight prices for everybody. I'll get into flight prices here in a second, but let's talk closest to Chicago. DPG already answered this, said he's going to go Toronto, but closest to Chicago destination, Toke, where are you going? Kansas City, Atlanta, Toronto, or Philly?
I would go Philly out of those. I mean, Toronto's a good shout, but I will say Philly. I've never been to Philly. My girl has. It didn't necessarily wow her, but man, I like the East Coast, man. I'm a fan.
I got a buddy who lives out that way, so you know I'm definitely I like the idea of Philly. I don't mind the idea of Atlanta, and here is why. I
don't mind either.
And here is why. Guess what the least expensive flight is? I might have just burned my lead.
$100, $100, easy.
Guess what the least expensive flights are of these all these World Cup venues? Canada, Mexico, USA locations included.
It's got to be Kansas City, right? Yeah, Kansas City. From Spirit to Kansas City.
So just a little, by the way, so I did this on Expedia. I ran it today, February 5th, 2024, just for posterity. I basically found a round trip flight, mostly out of O'Hare. I preferred maybe Midway, but O'Hare is typically where you're going to go for more international destinations, and most of these flights were coming out of O'Hare. But generally, the least expensive flights were to Atlanta. And we're talking June and July, mind you, this year, not World Cup years. I'm just talking this year. This round trip flight would cost you from if you maybe flew in on a Wednesday and flew out on a Sunday, because those tend to be maybe the cheaper days to fly in and out. It tended to be for Atlanta $150, for New York $170, and Boston rounding out the third least expensive flight to about $200.
I'm kind of scared to ask what airline is that on.
No, this was Expedia. It's pulling from what is it? United. Jesus. It's pulling from American. It's pulling from. I don't think it's
Southwest, brother.
I tried finding Southwest, but Southwest doesn't go to Toronto. DPG.
Oh man. Okay. They don't go. Me personally. If I were to travel to these destinations, this is something I've actually talked to my brother about, because he's been talking about this for the past 4 or 5 years. Doing a road trip.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting close to being due for a new car. So what better way to break in a new car?
Yeah. Just set it on fire, baby.
You can hit 4 games. Toronto, you could go into Canada with your new car, go to Toronto, come back, hit a game in Boston, hit a game in New York, and then hit a game in Philly, back to Chicago. That's 4 games. That's 3 group games, maybe? And
that's
maybe
like $6K right there, dude.
It's gonna hurt, man.
Tickets and gas.
If you want to do the whole circuit, though, you go Toronto, Boston, New York, Philly, Atlanta. I think the final is in New York. They've announced that much.
Whoa.
Yeah. East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm not going to let you erase New Jersey on this one.
The place that's confused for New York, right?
I like that idea. But before we continue anymore, guys, come back for this next commercial break. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Now, I know no one really likes a commercial break in the middle of their podcast, but we at Enemies of the Fire think it's good to every now and again try to grapple with the demons within your own heads. And honestly, I think the very first step to grappling with those demons is hitting the like button. Sound.
Oh man, no, but seriously though, it's I don't know. I mean, growing up in Chicago, it's kind of hard to compare it to other places, man, because every other place is a dump.
Well, I mean, growing up in America, especially even like I grew up 3 hours away. What are you like aspiring for? And it's like you already have the third largest city in the country right next to you, so it's like, well, of course, like I'm gonna gravitate towards there. The only other places are L.A. or New York.
Well,
it's like if you say, "What are you gonna go eat in New York? Pizza? Why the hell would you?"
I got that here.
Yeah, we got that here. It's probably even better.
It's different and it is good. It was fun to try, but it was like, all right, I've tried it. Back to Chicago.
Like, and we're like kind of a very culinary destination,
Super
for the
culinary.
region. So you can pretty much find all sorts of food here. So that kind of defeats the purpose of going somewhere and trying something new. I mean, even stuff like Philly cheesesteak. You can find a couple of spots in Chicago that the owner might be from Philly, and they're doing Philly cheesesteaks. So
here's what they don't realize: the water's better out here.
Oh yeah,
we're tapped into Lake Michigan, baby.
Yep.
Like we got like the sweetest water source on the planet. I was behind these Swedish people at Lollapalooza way back in the yonder, and I remember them clearly. They're like, "Oh, this water's good, yeah," and they were just loving how good the Chicago water is, and they were raving about like, "This water's so." They looked around at me and they're like, "This water's good, yeah."
It's funny you mention that because the few times that I've actually traveled to a different state or whatnot. For some odd reason, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes like the water might smell different, taste a little weird. Not saying that's a bad weird, but just tastes different.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back home and it's like, yeah, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, I can't.
Those
we go down to see my parents and we don't drink the water. Like
it comes from the local creek or something,
and it's the Illinois River.
Oh,
so I got more stats to drop on you guys and all our viewers here. So most expensive flight of our destinations here. What are you guys predicting is the most expensive flight in July?
Oh, Mexico or Monterey.
DBG, are you gonna ride that ticket with Toke?
Oh, I don't know. I want to say I want to say L.A. for some odd reason.
Vancouver.
Oh, I didn't even think about
it.
That would have been the easy one.
It's almost triple.
It's on the other coast.
Not triple. It's almost double the price of everybody else. Vancouver, right now, the cheapest you could get a flight for in July, $500. Not Canadian.
See, when you say these numbers, I realize how long it's been since I've bought a plane ticket that wasn't for
That's
work.
round trip, by the way. But you don't really have choice of flights. Like they'll limit you. Like if you want to change your time of flight, it might be extra $32. It might be an extra $100. But like the base flight, $500, they'll get you in and out.
Okay, yeah. I mean, for $500, I'd rather. There's a lot better places to go to than Vancouver.
So the next closest, the second most expensive are the Mexican destinations.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Seattle.
Oh.
Well, Seattle suffers from the same thing. It's basically Vancouver, and then and then it makes sense because Mexico's a lot bigger than we as Americans in our limited geography knowledge really give much credence to. It's pretty freaking big. So like you're not just going through America to get there and like cross the border. It's like, here I am. It's like, no, you keep going, bro.
I haven't said the financial difference either yet. So Vancouver's 500. What do you think Mexico destinations plus Seattle, what that is?
I mean, that's between 350, right? 350.
I want to say 250.
320. 320 to 330.
Okay.
So you can get a ticket to Monterey, Mexico City, Seattle, and Guadalajara for around 320 to 330 round trip. And then after that, everybody else comes in. Like I said, the cheapest was Atlanta, New York, Boston. Also cheap, let's see, Philly, 230. Toronto coming in about $250. By the way, this is the absolute cheapest. I'm not even giving you the high end. Like it's about $100 variance at about $100 for like the entire month, because you don't know what day you're going, right? It could be an extra $50. It could be an extra $100. So the most expensive ticket out of New York, it could be $320 instead of one of the cheapest at $170. It depends when you're leaving.
And you don't know who you're gonna see until until like December of 2020.
And good luck getting more than one game unless you're going through like a scalping service, right? Probably.
Yeah, they're gonna get you for
those tickets are gonna be insane.
Gouge. You thought you paid a lot for Messi tickets when he no-showed. LA about 280 to 470. Monterey 320 to 340. Monterey's tickets I thought were pretty cheap, guys. 320 to 340 round trip. Think about that for the wife, boys and girls. That could be a fun little trip. Mexico City 320 to 420 to Mexico City. San Fran was about 300 to 350. Vancouver though 500 to 820.
Whoa.
It's probably an Alaska Airlines too, so you might be having a seat. You might be, I'm going to go see the World Cup. But next thing you know, your door blows out. And you're like, whoa, what just happened?
Well, and really, Dallas, not too bad, 220. And I bet you, I think Southwest does Dallas, and I bet you they'll do it for $70, $90, $100. So
probably.
There's probably Southwest flights out there for some of these destinations. But when I started my search,
flown out of Midway,
I started to Toronto, and Midway does not go, Southwest does not go to Toronto. So I'm like, oh, well. All right.
I mean, sometimes it's just better off driving. Like enjoy the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say. Sometimes it's just better to drive. Sometimes, hey, you know what? I never been to this place. Let's go get in the car and let's check out all the stops along the way.
I agree. There's something so cool about it. And you see like these pieces of America that you otherwise wouldn't see. And then all of a sudden you're getting like in a cheeseburger at this weird hole in the wall, but it's like one of the greatest cheeseburgers you ever freaking had.
Yeah.
And it's special moments like that, right, DPG?
Yeah, I mean, just regional stuff. There's fast food joints that, they exist in the South that don't exist here. So unless you've gone to the South, you're never gonna know about them.
What's the White Castle
Crystal?
So they have an agreement not to go in each other's locations.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know crystals existed.
When I went down to Florida, I'm like, what the hell is this crystal? Why does it look like White Castle?
Yeah, I saw that at the Atlanta airport too. I was flying back home and I was like, man. I kind of want to try it out, but I'm like,
I got questions for you, boys. What are something that DPG won't be able to speak to this maybe, but what are something that you've had somewhere else, but you'd love to have in Chicago? For me, Publix. Bring the Publixes from the Publix sandwiches are so good. They're better. Just bring Publix up. That would be one thing. But Chicago has some of the best food stuff in the world. I mean, it's not
got everything you could possibly want.
Yeah. We even got a Jersey Mike's here. So, I mean, like, if you need a little East Coast.
I can even find my weirdo vegan food, man. I can get it delivered. I can walk to places.
Best vegan food
nothing says vegan like sawdust toast, right?
Obama's favorite restaurant in the city, Medici, really good vegan stuff. Out in Tahoe, best vegan I ever had. Incredible. Just I have to look up vegan Tahoe. They're still in business over 30 years, but like just incredible. So if you're ever on Lake Tahoe, just look up vegan sandwiches. Tahoe, it's like a cafe. It is tremendous. And I'm not vegan, that. I just like a good sandwich.
My thing that blows my mind is that a lot of vegan joints, and I guess they're doing this just to kind of attract more people, is that they make they try to make regular food, like a vegan burger, like a vegan chicken sandwich, just stuff like that. And at that point, it gets me thinking, like, look, if you're already at that point where you're wanting to get a vegan burger because you missed the real thing, just go ahead and buy the real thing. Like, what's the point?
Nah, like a lot of that stuff I find is even better, man. Like, I'll put it this way: eating vegan for the most part, it's really simple to do it healthy and like cook your own shit. It's simple stuff to cook, pastas and other nonsense, right?
Lake Tahoe, Sprouts. That's the name of the place. Sprouts.
Oh yes,
So
okay,
good.
I know. So, but like when you go out, you just want garbage. So it's like that's when you get your garbage food, your burgers, your pizza, your whatever. You just don't got to kill nothing to get it. Like, I mean, I get pizza from Sarpino's, man. Like when I want like a Pizza Hut pizza, like a garbage quick pizza, man. I gotta call Sarpino's. They got that vegan stuff.
Oh, I gotta have some Sarpino's. My buddy recommended Sarpino's.
I haven't had it in a while.
I want to try that.
Good.
I have not had that.
I mean, you know, it's good when the customer service is awful. You know the food is amazing.
All right, I got a wild piece of trivia before we exit this World Cup conversation and we move on to some of the other stuff. But per Forbes, January 2023, Laura Begley Bloom. I got 2 cities here that are the most dangerous cities in America, and I got 2 of the safest cities in America on this FIFA World Cup venue list.
Really? I didn't know St. Louis was hosting a game.
They are in the top 15. They are in the top 15. So in the top 15, give me your 2 safest and your 2 most dangerous city guesses of the 2026 FIFA World Cup venues. Mind you, this is America destinations.
Just America, right? We're not counting.
Not counting anywhere else.
So the 2 safest is
the 2 safest cities with a population over 300K. 300,000.
Oof.
I'll start off with the 2 worst in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Philly. Philly's one of them.
My face betrays nothing.
I got you.
I think it has to be between Miami and New Jersey.
I'm telling you right now, the safest is going to be Seattle, and it's going to be East Rutherford, New Jersey, and the roughest is going to be Houston and Dallas. Take that.
Oh, no, man. No.
Viewers, let us know your comments too, Bullet. This is fun.
Everybody's got a gun there. Of course it's trivia. Not safe.
Well, so, you know what? That is true. Someone pisses you off, bumps into you, you're ready to put your hand on your holster.
Remind you, this is from... I want to be morbid. Hold on. You got to tell us the answers now, but I have something. I don't want to be morbid, but I got to bring this up.
Okay.
Just talk. So what are the answers?
The answers are, by the way, this is from a Forbes article from January 2023, Laura Begley Bloom. Like I said, you could Google it. Kansas City, number 13 most dangerous city.
Oh.
Whoa.
Kansas
City.
Okay, Kansas City. New York City, number 5 most safest city.
East Rutherford, New Jersey, baby.
Number 5, New York City. Now, get ready. Right. Get ready for this. Right. Boston.
Oh, shit.
Number 10 most safest city.
Boston. Wow. Okay.
Boston, number 10. New York City, number 5. Baby. And Philly, number 14 most. Wait for it. Dangerous city.
Oh, I did not expect that.
So
I did not.
KC and Philly made the top 15 most dangerous cities in the USA, and New York City and Boston were amongst the 2 most safest cities. Top 15.
Well, congratulations on all 4 cities. I was not aware of your game like that.
I want to say it's probably because of the population ratios, you know. That's my theory, but
I think so. If you want to read more about the article and why they were chosen, just Google Forbes, Laura Begley Bloom, like bloom like in a flower, Begley Begley, and it was in January 2023. And she's like, I use stats. That's what she said. Well, she intimated that.
So before the commercial break, let me bring everybody down and make them all really sad. I had a thought today.
Yeah.
That kind of made me wonder. The World Cup's in America, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do we see our first mass shooting at a World Cup event?
God, man. You know what, man?
I'm worried about stabbings too because of what's happened in Mexico.
You know what? It's ironic that you mentioned that because like earlier today I was watching a documentary of 9/11 and I
was watching a documentary about cartels.
And I'm like,
I was trying to enjoy life.
Yeah, man. See, so now I gotta worry about if I do go to a World Cup game, now I gotta worry about the new car. Not only about the new car, but about some crazy dude trying to make a political statement. Just saying.
I mean, because like, and again, like, you know, we didn't see a lot at Russia. We didn't see a lot at Qatar. We didn't like, and they don't show us everything. But I don't feel like we saw a lot at like, you know, what 06 was Germany, 2010 was South Africa. We didn't see, you know, like any huge, like even like think back to like the 96 Olympics with the bomb at the park in Atlanta.
Oh my God,
you know what I mean?
that was crazy.
We haven't.
I know somebody who was personally there, who was
was
meters away, survived. Thank God, their personal loved one. But also, I mean, just the experience of that. Our lives were, it was nuts because we knew they were down there and we're all trying to get a hold of them. This is someone who's personal family, and it's just. And
this was pre cell phone too.
Pre-cell phone.
So you're leaving messages at the hotel.
You're landlining it.
You know? It was absolute
or
chaos.
Pagering.
So that was absolutely a crazy thing. Absolutely.
But I feel like we haven't seen anything really big like that. Like even like go all the way back to like the Munich Olympics.
Well, you got to hope that, you know, the various countries' intelligence services are active.
You would think
hyper
like
active.
You know, like I said, it's almost like, I don't want to be negative, but like it feels like we're due. We're gonna be in a place where that stuff happens all the time. Like,
and with that, I hope that people come back after this commercial break.
Yeah, stay safe.
Hold on.
Hey guys, this is DPG, and you are listening to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. James, Mitch, and I started this podcast to talk about our favorite soccer club, which is the Chicago Fire. Thanks again for listening. Hope you hit the subscribe button, and go Fire.
Hey there, Enemies of the Fire. What Fire game do you have circled on your calendar this year? Is it the one we all expect? Or is it the unexpected? Let us know in the comments.
All right, Enemies of the Fire, after all those fun notes, we wanted to wrap up our conversation here. So I brought up the possibility of a horrific Munich-like event or whatever.
Or Atlanta 1996 terror type of event. Like, these things happen and have happened in the past. And now you're even talking like they've happened in the past in America. So it's like you have to be aware of the possibility. Here's the other thing. Other events have happened in America, have not happened. Intelligence services generally on top of this type of stuff. We have to bank on that. On top of that, if you see something, say something.
Yep.
See something, say something. I'm curious about what the security is going to be like.
Well, that's why Chicago backed out, right, guys? Because they were very concerned about a type of event that they could not account for. And they were not able to pay the security fees to be able to go. Because who are they going to hire? Monterey security?
Monterey, that's what I was gonna say. Can you imagine Monterey trying to stop?
Like, that's what would happen. That's who's getting hired.
Like,
Jesus,
the kid,
you're right.
17-year-old kid that's there for part-time. You think he's going to suspect the guy that's just randomly standing doing stuff? Like,
that I don't even want to pretend like. I don't even want to think about Monterey security doing that. I'm just curious about the communication between.
Bro, when you guys go to the Fire game,
right?
You guys go through their metal detectors. They have to patch it down. They do a quick. You're good,
dude. You know they don't do not. I mean, things that shouldn't have gone in the little bucket with your wallet went in there, and then people like grab it out, and it's fine. You know, like nobody's paying attention to nothing, man.
I appreciate that though. There's something about me that appreciates that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because okay, airport security hasn't caught shit, guys. Airport security ain't catching any but B words.
Take it easy, man. I used
to. So like, on the one hand, I appreciate what these guys are doing because, hey, guys, Paris Think about what happened in Paris outside of a game where Kylian Mbappe is playing. Guy blew himself up in a suicide vest.
Yeah.
When he was getting when he was going at the security agent. So those guys have to deal with some real fucking shit sometimes.
Whoa.
And that is horrifying and scary. And so all the major props to them for having to be able to be prepared mentally for that type of shit. That is
keep in mind too, like another caveat to that is when we go to a fire game.
Moving back to kind of what we were talking about, like it is great that Chicago kind of passed up on this, because if there was, it could be a very dangerous situation, like you guys are kind of thinking about here. Yeah. Are there powder kegs in America that are going to be right for this type? It is a concern, but so we'll have to be paying attention to that type of shit when we're going to these World Cup things here, 2026. By the way, same year that GTA releases, GTA 6.
Oh man, I got a bridge to sell you, bro.
Good. Wow, let's put a pin in that.
What's going on, everybody? You are embracing the darkness with Enemies of the Fire. Thank you. Maybe we could chop some of that up.
Oh, I can. I can. Yeah. We did.
Yeah.
But okay. So
that's
James,
the beauty of editing.
Can you explain the drama of the Kit thing, or do you want me to?
A little bit. So I'll give the layman's terms, and you can give me the deeper thing. So what I saw was Footy Headlines releases a something that kind of suggests.
Hold on.
What?
Let me hit this one more time, and then like actually jump into it. Sorry.
All right, good. No worries. Right after this break.
No, kick in, bro.
So Footy Headlines supposedly dropped some sort of thing with FIFA, I don't know, FIFA-related content that showed all the various jersey leaks for MLS. Not all of them, but a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, it
right?
didn't have the fire when that...
Didn't have the fire.
No.
So Footy Headlines started speculating, putting stuff out. Chicago Fire admin came with the heat. Came with some funny jokes. Did not shy away from the Footy Headlines. And in fact, almost maybe, with Toke points out, like almost sets the fire up, sets some of the fans up for disappointment. Not all of them. Everybody's gonna be hyped for the red kit. Everybody's getting hyped for the red kit, but some of the stuff that fire admin was tweeting was fire. And if we get anything like that, ooh, baby.
Like that's the big thing I had. Like I love the joking back and forth. I love an admin who's
we lost you.
Who's willing to have a good time and have some fun with it.
Toke, we lost you for a whole 10 seconds.
For you. Oh, no,
your internet skipped. We lost you. You froze in the most hilarious dance.
Yes.
So you're like.
Anyway, I was gonna say the issue for me is that like the admin, I love when they're having fun and they got this beef going with Footy Headlines and stuff. But he's like, oh, here's some more leaks. And he leaked, like, he put out, like, the coolest looking kit ever. It's got, like, the skyline along the bottom. It's got, like, stars instead of stripes on the side. Like, dude, don't put out a cooler kit than you're gonna have. Because you know there's only gonna be, like, a minor tweak to the thing that Footy Headlines put out. It's like, I could have told you 2 years ago when they said we were going back to red, it was gonna look like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Did you guys
gonna
see
look like this? It's just in reverse, probably.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. But did you see the one that had the skyline and the stars and stuff?
I'm looking for it right now.
Cool.
I'm looking for it. I found it. All right, yeah, I found it. It is just. It looks so cool, and when you pointed that out, I'm like, I got a little disappointed as well, because I'm like, oh, it's not gonna be as cool as this. This gives me the vibes of the black Chicago flag kit. You know what? That's what it gives me. It's got the
It's so
diamond.
cool.
It's got the city skyline. It's got literally, I recognize every single one of those buildings as a Chicagoan. It's just, people say, if you're from the burbs, you're not from Chicago. Well, I ask you this, everybody. When you're at the concert, whether it's at freaking Tinley Park, right? Because everybody goes to Tinley Park concerts, or the Northerly Island, or wherever the hell you are, when they say, "What's up, Chicago?" You're always screaming, right? You're like, "Yay! Hey, Green Day! Hey, Blink-182! Hey, Kiss!" Like when they say, "What's up, Chicago?" You're from freaking Chicago. End of story. And I rest my case.
I mean,
everybody's second name or third name. If you don't have a middle name, guess what? We all are Chicago. That's kind of like our extra name.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing.
You just you live where you live, man. It's like literally my same argument about like immigration. Like, who gives a crap where your parents had sex? Like, you didn't do anything. Who cares if that's where you're from? Like, where do you live? What do you do? You know what I mean? What do you represent? And that's where it's like, I just don't get it, man. Be Naperville strong if you want, man.
Oh man.
Anyway, so I don't know, man. DPG, what did you see that kit? I've dropped it in the chat.
I haven't seen. Well, you know what? Let me take a. Now I gotta take a
grab
look.
that WhatsApp. I dropped that in the chat.
It has like the Diamond Building. It has what is it? The Chrysler Building. It has all
Hancock,
these. The Hancock. It's a Sears. It's got everybody.
So it looks decent. I just, you know what? It's the stars don't do it for me, man.
Oh.
I
like the idea of the stars. I like the conceptual idea. I agree with you. The application of it is like, your eyes come to it and you're like, they don't exactly belong.
Yeah, it's just.
Actually, you know what? They do have a Greek vibe to them. There is a Greek moral vibe to it that now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, there's a little Greek Olympics there. And Frank Klopas is the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I mean, it doesn't. I like it. I like the setup. I like the skyline. I always felt that the Chicago Fire should always try to implement more skyline. And their designs, one way or another. But
I don't know why they didn't push that even earlier on. Like, I remember like going out to smoke at Bridgeview. And you're like on the concourse or whatever they call it, where you walk around and you got this beautiful view of the skyline. You know what I mean? It's like,
well,
I don't know.
It's funny you mention that because I remember back in the day when they had these little meetings at Bridgeview to kind of bring in new season ticket holders. Like the guy will literally like start off by saying, "Everyone, turn around towards the window. That's the Chicago skyline. We are the Chicago Fire."
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you can still see it from the IKEA in Schaumburg, too.
I don't think you guys have fully realized this yet. The blue kits are gone. Right?
Why can't we have a third kit?
The red kit will replace the blue kit, right?
Yeah.
The full red kit should replace the blue kit. By the way, have a red kit, have a white kit, which is the white confetti kit, right? And then third kit. Third kit's whatever you want. Third kit, though, bring back the Chicago flag.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing.
Some new updated version of that jersey would be sick.
Well, let me say this, though. As far as the old jerseys, like the blue kit, that horrendous fire crown, 25 years from now, when they do like a retro day, they're going to bring that sucker back out, man.
Yeah.
They're going to bring out, hey, check out the fire crown from 25 years ago.
I had to get the scarf just to acknowledge that it happened.
Oh, they're gonna call it retro.
Great.
It just,
Speaking
like,
of, go on.
No, I was just saying, it's like kind of like what the Sox do when they bring out their retro, jerseys, or even the Cubs when they come out with like the Chicago Whales or some random whatever they were called back in the day. So. We might see that in 25, maybe even 50 years from now. Maybe even after our time. They're going to bring back...
I'll be dead in 50.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
No, man, you're gonna be running on robot parts, man. What are you talking about?
You've seen Futurama, where I'll be, headless and or not headless. We'll be floating heads.
Heads in a jar.
Floating heads in a jar.
So,
Speaking of floating heads in a jar, let's take a quick break. And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. And scene.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? It's FC Neo Tokyo here. And if you don't like this video, they said they were going to cut my food rations. I don't know how I can go down further for them one piece of bread. Please just like the video. Welcome back, enemies of the fire. I love it.
It's freaking awesome. Guys, hit that freaking like button for enemies of the fire. I'm loving this. DPG, Toke, we had this before, but this feels new. This feels special. This feels so awesome.
Yeah,
guys.
It's the way to go, man. This is, you know, censor ourselves, cut down the rambling, and we're good. You know, like. But no, in all seriousness,
speaking of rambling, so what are we covering next?
So I want to get into our deep dive of this team. This is the thing that had me the most psyched to talk. That like I didn't care that Gio Reyna got his first minutes in Premier League. I didn't care that they got pissed off in Hong Kong that Messi didn't play. I don't care. I just want to talk about this team because I'm actually for the first time in years excited about something.
People are embarrassed about Messi not playing. If you want to just before we can put a pin in that. People are embarrassed. I didn't really care. It's preseason. What the fuck cares? They're not playing in America. They must be jealous. They must be jealous that they're not playing in America. They're like, oh, if he was here, I would have gone and seen him. I would have seen him.
I did see somewhere that they had people climbing the side of the mountain next to the stadium to see Messi play. Yeah. That's how dedicated they're. So imagine you spend 3 hours climbing a mountain.
Oh, shit.
You're like, oh, man.
And I'm going to see Messi play.
You know, well, I'm going to see Messi.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's different. It's a different vibe. Right. Like I told James this, like when we went to the game last year, when Messi didn't play, everybody was still pretty much a Chicagoan. So even though they were in a pink jersey, since Messi's not there, they just cheered for the Chicago team.
Everybody rooted hard for Chicago that game. Yeah.
And so like, but it's a whole different vibe. Like you're in Hong Kong. It's like, think about America 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, who's watching the A-League? You know, just a few weirdos. Like, everybody's trying to catch Manchester United and watch all that. And so...
And pay-per-view, by the way.
And right. And you got to times that times 10 because of Hong Kong is just not even trying to build their league up like that, right? And not, you know what I mean? And so you're a soccer fan, and it's like Messi's coming to town. Not only is soccer, period, coming to town. Like, it'd be great to see somebody kick the ball well, but like Messi's coming to town. So I feel I get it, but it's still sports.
You're not the only one who gets it though, because Charles Barkley gets it too. He started calling out these NBA players who are resting in these seasons, and I don't know if he's necessarily right, but he has played the game for as long, or if not longer, than all of those other players, and to me, in maybe a harder era. So
I mean, I would agree, but like. I just put it this way, like people are allowed to do whatever they want to do. If you feel tight, don't play, man.
I agree.
Don't play.
You're under no obligation. Like the tickets didn't say, even though they did, but the tickets didn't say Messi versus whoever.
It
said Inter Miami.
Right. You're
and
absolutely
Messi
right.
plays for Inter Miami, and you know he could have just tactically been taken out of the game, which obviously,
I just want to say I think we're just spoiled, and the reason I say that is that we had Jordan play with the flu.
Yeah, and we brag about the flu game all the time, and it wasn't the flu. I'm pretty sure it was a late night bender, but we call it the flu game.
Now, would Messi play with the flu? Probably not.
He played the championship. He played the championship with the flu for sure. For the love of the game.
He probably would, but even so, let's back it up. Would he play a round of 16 game in the Champions League in 2014? With the flu?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think so.
You know what I mean? He's at a different
it depends the
stage,
right?
Yeah, it's a different stage in life, man. And it's like it's funny that you brought that up because it kind of proves my point. The only time I ever saw the Jordan Bulls play live and in person was a preseason game. And I knew I was only getting so much Scottie Pippen. I knew I was only getting so much Michael Jordan.
That's like a Bears game. You only know you're only getting the first quarter of the starters.
Yep. And it's just like, you know, it's the thing about sports. Sometimes the best players don't play.
Well, you said you're not buying a ticket for Messi versus Ronaldo. You're buying for Al Hilal versus Inter Miami.
Al Nassr.
Al Nassr. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, we realize it starts with an AL. That's all we know.
Every team starts with AL over there, which I don't know why. Exactly. Like, I haven't studied enough about the language to know why that's a thing. But or if that's like their version of FC. But, you know, I don't know. Every team literally, like, they're all in the A's in the alphabetical order.
Speaking of the alphabetical order, follow Enemies of the Fire at Enemies of the Fire on Twitter for some fun times.
Yep, subscribe.
And to keep abreast of our podcast here on YouTube. And we'll do our best to kind of post it elsewhere. We're figuring that part out.
So did anybody see Gio Reyna this weekend?
What happened? He went to Nottingham Forest, kind of as like was rumored to initially be happening, and then kind of just developed.
Yeah, it happened. They filed their paperwork correctly, which I can't remember the guy's name. Who the poor guy? Oh man, he was on the plane. They were like, the deal fell apart, and he's like, screw it, I'm gonna sleep in the airport for a day.
Are you talking about Jairo Torres? He on the Chicago Fire, who's still in Mexico.
Is this the Orlando guy? Orlando City guy?
The guy from Orlando
okay.
Flew over to play for somebody in England, and they said the deal fell apart while he was in the plane. Then he gets to the airport. He's sitting there for like a day.
Maguire.
And they're like, Maguire. They're like, oh, we got the deal. It's done. Everything's cool. And now they're like, oh, crap, the paperwork's wrong. Like, so nobody knows like what's going to happen. They've appealed.
I think it's being appealed right now. I don't know if it's gone through yet, but it's being appealed.
I hope so, man. Fingers crossed for that kid.
I honestly, I'm sure there has to be special exceptions for situations like that. Like, hey, there's a typo. Someone messed up on something. Hey, you know,
I get like there's rules for a reason, but like we don't need antiquated rules. Like if you could get the deal done and send the email in time, like we shouldn't be using fax machines anymore.
And speaking of fax machines, not to get political, this is not a political comment, but I should not be reading that Arnaud Suke is waiting on a green card when we're hearing about all this other crazy shit that's happening on the border.
Well, you know,
he should be one of the first people that just is like, here, take your green card, go play MLS. It just seems a little silly.
It does.
And Jairo Torres, of course, still in Mexico, guys. That seems like that fell through. Couldn't pull off a loan to anybody. Kind of sucks because, I mean, like, I heard that the only people who were willing to take him was McDonald's HQ.
Well, here's the thing.
What I'm hearing is Argentina and Colombia are still open windows. And I think he needs a change of scenery so bad they might push a move. Now, we could get rid of him on a free, but somebody's got to take his contract. So what's going to happen is I think we're going to buy him out. Like if nobody in Argentina is going to pay for him, we're just going to have to buy him out, which means Kasper Schmeichel.
Well, it makes more sense to buy him out. He seems to be more of a bust than Kasper. Kasper's at least, he's a cone. At practice, he could be a pretty tall cone.
Yeah.
But Jairo is not a very tall cone. He's like one of those, he's one of those empty donut cones that you just step over, but you got a ton of.
Yeah, and you know what,
too? A lot of tall cones, like
it's like, the thing about Kasper, too, is that he might miss the open net sitters, but he has a habit of scoring like the very hard shots, like from an angle, from a distance, like the weird shots that most people won't make. He tends to score.
How many goals did Kasper Schmeichel have?
He had like 4 or 5,
there's another reason. Shots. There's another reason to believe in Kasper Schmeichel. He is more of the Cuypers replacement type. So if the Fire are going to, pardon my French here, but the Fire are going to play with Cuypers as a dedicated sole striker, being that tall guy up top who's strong, holds off, kind of be his poacher. Przybyłko and Kutsias being 6'1", 6'3", in between that range, they both offer more direct replacements for Cuypers' style of play. They're probably more similar then they are different in their limitations. Even though Cuypers is a more of a physical specimen, I think he's got a little bit more pace. He's got a little bit more finish than all of them.
He's got a lot more finish.
But all the same, they're just less refined versions of Cuypers. So I think that having those similar type of strikers playing one type of offensive game plan with Frank and Nagamura, it might be really beneficial to actually keep Kacper Przybyłko and then get rid of Jairo Torres, who's just he's not really that useful.
See, we've stumbled into we're burying the lead. We've stumbled into the most exciting thing to talk about right now about this roster is the strikers. So we have a DP number 9.
Yeah.
If you call him Cuypers, I thought it was Cyprus. I don't know, man.
That makes sense, Cyprus.
Okay, so let's break this down. So Jairo Torres is staying in Mexico. He's going to try to work out some sort of deal with another team. I don't even think the Fire want anything to do with him anymore. He's not even involved in preseason camp anymore. Suket, same thing. He's not involved. He's not with the preseason camp anymore.
Is that because of the green card that we read, or
I didn't hear Suket was not with the team. He might. I don't know. They might mutually terminate or something, and he goes.
He might.
Somewhere. Yeah, only have so many.
Yeah. So we have those two guys that are pretty much down. Duran is injured. Let's see. We're still waiting on Kellen
Acosta.
Kellen Acosta, the Kellen Acosta sweepstake. So
now we're gonna talk in circles. This is like a spiral into my skull. We lost James.
No, you didn't. I'm here. I'm just changing things.
So this is spiraling in my head. We have 4 strikers for a single striker setup. and
oh
my God, you're so
you need
right.
backups for the backups.
Oh my God.
And we are now full on roster.
Well,
so if we
those
want
guys
Kellen
are gonna have to play wing. They're gonna have to play wing.
If we have Kellen Acosta, if we want Kellen Acosta, we have to old Yeller someone. So then it boggles the mind.
Well, keep in mind this roster. It's not that hard to do with this roster.
Trade so early.
And
why did we have to do that?
Who are you going to do it to?
That. Well, we could have done this Tom Barlow deal 2 weeks from now and gotten Kellen Acosta on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to convince Kellen Acosta to sign with the Fire after they did the trade with Barlow. Like, hey, look, we got Barlow now.
No, and that's the thing. We knew a DP number 9 was coming, so then like I said with Barlow before, Koutsias is there. Develop him or get rid of him.
Yep.
There's no reason to have him if you're not going to develop him. There's no reason to have Tom Barlow if you're going to develop Koutsias, and there's no reason to have Kacper Przybyłko other than just he's kind of handsome.
There's no reason to have Kellen Acosta if you have Gaston Jimenez and Navarro.
You shut your mouth. That is so not true.
You need to replace. You need to get rid of one of those guys because you still have Pineda and Casas behind them. Where's Kellen going to play? Kellen's not going to play in front of Shaqiri. He's playing with Shaqiri. He's not going to play in front of Guti. Guti's got to start. Mueller probably on the right side or Haile Selassie, right?
They're going to pack that midfield easy.
No, listen. Selassie's on the bench.
Yeah.
Klopas apparently loves Mueller. So it's going to be Mueller and Gutierrez on the wings, and it's going to be Shaq in the middle. And so you've got Selassie on the bench. And then, like I said, I would rather have Kellen Acosta with Gaston Jimenez on the bench than not have Kellen Acosta and have Tom Barlow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
It depends how the Fire are going to play this. If they let's say Acosta does sign with the Fire,
we're immediately a top 4 team in the East.
Well, not only that, but our midfield. At that point, you kind of have to decide whether or not you want to play with a DM because you could literally play. With that lineup, you could literally get rid of the DM spot and just make a straight up,
flat center midfield.
Flat center midfielder with a little spiciness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you need somebody to drop back because Shaq ain't tracking. He's not tracking nobody.
That's the issue. That will only work. Well, keep in mind our center backs have changed. Now you got besides Rafael, we also have the new guy
Yeah, Solquist.
Solquist, yeah. So
which he hasn't cleared yet.
Yeah,
we're still waiting on him.
Wednesday. It's gonna happen Wednesday. According to the fine folks, according to the Alex Calabrese and the fine folks of Men in Red 97, it's happening Wednesday.
All right.
Okay. So guys, then what about?
I think we got to get close to wrapping up. We're coming up on an hour here, unless we're becoming an hour and a half type of podcast.
Well, I don't mind. Okay, so if we want to cut this little section, I don't mind going a little long.
I could cut some of that stuff we talked about earlier as well.
Yeah, let's do that. And I'd rather cut.
That'll give us an extra 8 minutes.
I'd rather cut cop talk for fire talk.
I could cut that whole 8 minutes and just say that. By the way, let me just pause this for station identification. We'll be right back. Boom. We hit it. All right, cool. So
welcome back to WKBBL.
So we got, all right. So, but real quick though, we got about 8 minutes or so if we're going to stay within an hour.
So we got to get into this. So I honestly feel like Kellyn Acosta, like this is the first time in so many years I see an actual plan on the field. Cause this guy, this Cuypers, I don't even know how to say this guy's name.
I like Cuypers.
Yeah, right.
Just say Hugo, bro. Just say Hugo. Just say Hugo.
Hugo. So he was born around Liege in Belgium. He speaks French and the Dutch. He also speaks a little English. He grew up in the French style of soccer. He knows what's going on. I ended up watching a little 24-minute interview with him in Ghent. And having to deal with the various translation issues that were not true. Like they kept saying Nice and nice. I was like, oh, are they talking about Nice? Or did they just say nice?
Let's talk about his stats, though. So 2 years ago, he had the season of his career. He scored
not 2 years ago, last season. So the season 22 to 23.
2 seasons ago. It would be
2 seasons ago.
That was what we'll call it, because it wasn't this season. It was the season before that.
Yeah, so 22 to 23.
Yeah, so 2 seasons ago. So he had the season of his career. He scored about over 30 goals. The thing that scares me a little bit is that the following season, he only had a handful, maybe 6 goals. So, kind of screams like one-hit wonder here.
Dude, I think you're incorrect, because if he scored that many goals, it was the 22 to 23 season. We are currently still in the 23 to 24 season, meaning he's halfway through with 6 goals on a team that may or may not be doing amazing. I don't know. So, which everybody seems to be pretty happy with his output still this year. So 6 goals in X amount of assists doesn't necessarily scare me off after a big year like that, right? So I don't know. I just feel like this. Everything I've seen of this guy, which hasn't been much, because I'm behind on my Belgian soccer. It looks like this dude is exactly Kasper Schmeichel, but can move better. And when he kicks the ball, it actually goes in the net and not everywhere else.
Not second level Soldier Field.
Right. So if Kasper Schmeichel was a 15-goal guy, he would have had 11 goals at least.
It sounds like DBG says Kasper Schmeichel would make a better Bears kicker.
Yeah.
Than a fire striker.
Yeah.
So this guy literally slides into a slot that we already had in a team that was siphoning, that was leaking goals and couldn't score. So now we've got the scoring. We did one center back. If we can get Kellyn Acosta and not Gaston Jimenez in the middle, I'm telling you, this is by far not only a playoff team, but an exciting and fun team.
This team would be cooking on gas. I agree.
It would be cooking, but I fear without the one more piece of Kellyn Acosta, and let's be fair, whenever probably by summer we've worked out the payments and we probably have our DP slot back for the young DP, then we can get another winger. You're talking about a solid team at that point.
So it sounds like this whole season kind of hinges on whether or not we get Acosta.
In my brain, it does. Because if we don't,
I agree with you there, because if you don't even mention Acosta, our current lineup doesn't look all that great. Honestly, I think
I will
Like,
can I pause you there, because I will push back on that just the tiniest little bit, because I did not believe in this team, but I told you I believe in Frank Klopas. I believe in Frank Klopas more than I believe in this team as a whole. Just something about, he's made the right hires this year with bringing in Nagamura. I talked about that last podcast, but this Cuypers guy, his profile is that of a strong quality finisher. I watched his video. I watched his tape. When we worry about him, was it just a flash in the pan, him being a record goal scorer? It isn't. The dude scored more than 20 goals in other leagues in other years. This guy's 26 years old. He's done this at other teams to the point where he's flashed and eventually got signed by Olympiacos for an undisclosed fee. But he scored multiple goals to the point where he was a league record holder for the Greek league. I think it was the Greek second league, but all the same. Get signed by the Greek first league.
You gotta score goals in the league you're in.
And it was more than 20 goals. And then he's also done that in the Pro Netherlands League. He's done that in a league that has a Champions League spot. He also did it in like a no-name league. So when I look at some of these past Fire strikers, like some of our other guys in the past, like they don't have that goal history in their past where they scored 36 in a season. This guy scored 36 like as a 19-year-old. He scored another 20 or 30 as like a 22-year-old. He has flashes because all of a sudden they built the team around him and it works. When Ghent bought him, he scored 13 goals in like 29 games for the team before. He came into Ghent, scored 36 goals in like less than 50 games. His goal per game ratio was off the charts. It just something, and that's him as a 26-year-old.
He's motivated too. What's up, fellow enemies of the fire? I am FC Neo Tokyo. I'm so happy to tell you that this season I am a season ticket holder, finally. So you see me in the streets, come say hi, say what's up, all that good stuff. I'll be around, and yes, I don't know how I pulled her either. He's motivated too because
he's a PK taker. He's a penalty kick taker.
Does he take him or does Shaq?
I'm just telling you, he takes penalties, and that tells you a sign of confidence as a finisher, a clinical finisher.
Yeah.
I see stuff of poaching.
Who's gonna get him to pass?
It's gotta be Shaq. It's gotta be Guti. It's gotta be Shaq. It's gotta be Mueller. It's gotta be Haile Selassie.
Well, it's not gonna be Mueller. He's just gonna dribble till he scores or out of bounds. That's what he does.
So I'm a bit of a believer in the history of this guy. Where when I look at some of these past guys, who was that one French guy we got from League One, and he came in to be our striker, right?
Beric, right?
Beric. When I looked at Beric's history, Beric never scored like 11 goals like in his life.
Yeah,
that was such a weird transfer.
And he's just like a striker for life. This is not Beric. This guy has a history of scoring 30 goals in a season. Twice. At least twice. He scored more than 20 at least twice or 3 times. This dude, I'm sorry, pardon my French, but this guy buries. So, in a different level than we've seen in the past. I'm not saying he's a Nikolic, he's going to win a golden boot, but I'll say this, 26 years old, the Fire paid $11 million, and they got a Joseph Martinez type of player who is not broken for $9 to $11 million. And they did it in the year 2024 for a guy who is way better than Joseph Martinez is right now. So, we'll see.
Well, Joseph Martinez...
There's a couple of people better than Joseph Martinez right now.
Joseph Martinez was when he came to Major League Soccer, he was on his I need to find my club to be a club legend arc. He wasn't trying to get sold. This guy, he's 26. He's still got prime years. So like, who was this transfer against? It was us and Celtic, right? These are Celtic is, Scotland is traditionally a launching pad for your next move to the big leagues, the Big Five. So if he sees the Fire as that as well, we could get 2 solid years out of this guy, sell him, and let's do the dance all over again.
This guy is the exact profile of a Celtic guy. When you say that, that blows my mind, because this is the type of guy that Celtic would go sign. When you look at his stats, when you look at his past history, and you see that he's still just 26 years old, you see that he has some years that are flops. Yeah, I agree. But then you look at his injuries, you see, oh, was it a soft tissue injury? Oh, it was just like that. But it wasn't a long-term soft tissue injury that affected him. Oh, okay. Also, were they building around the team? The guy is a solo striker that scores 13 goals, like as a poacher, and the types of goals he gets: headers, strikes.
DPG, you are not nearly as positive as we are.
I know. So here's the thing, and this is why I say this. So I'm not sold on this, because for him to kind of start magic, you need to create it first. He's not the type of striker that's going to take on a whole defensive back line. And if you look at our starting midfield, between
he's not a
Mueller,
Jordan Morris, he's not a Cucho.
He's between Mueller and Guti and Shaq.
Would you say he's more like a Christian Benteke? But wait, I don't think he's like a Christian Benteke. Christian Benteke still has like 4 inches on him, stronger, taller.
Here's the thing, though.
Diego Costa.
Is that we have seen our midfield get clamped up quick.
He's the way Chicago fires Diego Costa. Let's go.
Well, this is why I say this is why like we were mentioning earlier, this season is basically hinging on us signing Kellen Acosta, because
it would be huge. It puts us over.
Okay, because
I agree.
When you think about it, it's just they're gonna lock down Shaq. They're gonna rough up Guti.
Yeah.
They're gonna block or force Mueller to dribble out of bounds.
Yeah, force him out of bounds.
Oh my! DPG, you're literally giving the other team the template. Hold
on.
It's true.
I think DPG is forgetting something.
Okay.
We had similar parts and worse all of last season.
Mm-hmm.
And if Shabilko, Kamara, and Koutsias hit half of the open net shots that they missed, we were a playoff team last year. As sad as that is, because that team shouldn't have been good enough to make the playoffs, but we could have literally made the playoffs if they had just made half of the open netters they've missed.
And by that argument alone, we are a playoff team.
And you add a guy who's an actual finisher, which means all those opportunities are going to be there.
But the thing is that you need a guy that's going to pull away defenders from the rest of those guys.
I didn't see his hold-up play. Obviously, that doesn't highlight well of a guy like. That's not awesome in a YouTube video.
But before we end the podcast, you guys see this? That Ezra Hendrickson was posting basically suggesting that had the Fire not lost Jhon Duran, he might not have been fired. They might have made the playoffs. They might have made the playoffs. Did you guys see that?
I mean, I would disagree. I feel like Jhon Duran made the obvious, like, what's the word I'm searching for? Development. He's just better now than he was on the Fire. By a lot, and just like people saw it. That's why he went for so much. But like, he still may have not have squeezed all that juice out of the kid yet, right? So I don't know. Ezra shouldn't have been fired especially if we were gonna fucking Cuypers.
I don't know. That's an interesting point you made. But the thing is, Ezra didn't know how to. It's like he managed to make the game. He just couldn't hold the game together. Like, how the hell are the Fire winning 2-0 only to lose 3-2 towards the end of the match?
Man.
So he did that mistake more than once. Like, it got to a point where it was like, don't get excited that they're winning 2-0 because
was every game basically. We would give up a late goal every game to either give up the win or give up the to lose.
He's a nice guy. Like, I had the privilege of actually having a face-to-face conversation with him, and really nice guy. It's just unfortunate that certain decisions were made on the field that didn't work out, and I think once something's not working out, you kind of have to cut it off.
I'd love to see him get another program to work on.
I got to make a correction, guys. I have to make a correction. I said that Hugo Cuypers has never won a Golden Boot. He is the Golden Boot holder from last season.
Yes, from that monster year.
He has the Golden Boot. The Chicago
season.
Fire might have found another Nikolic.
Well, remember what I said about Jhon Duran? This guy's going to come here and continue to do better. I went from literally like I heard about this move and I was so negative about it. And then like within the span of 10 minutes, I watched 3 minutes of a YouTube video and instantly was like, put a word out on the streets. We all the way back up. You know, like
I saw his 30-something goal highlight YouTube video. And a lot of those goals, you know, I gotta admit, nice stuff from the guy.
They were literally, what kills me is they were literally shots from the exact same place on the field that we watched Shabilko sky and miss last season. Like, seriously. Yeah. And I don't mean to pile on him. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but he's probably a decent dude. He you know, whatever. It just doesn't work here in Chicago for him.
No. Per this report, Hugo Cuypers, one of the best goal scorers in Belgium, lost by Ghent. The last few years, Cuypers has been one of the best goal scorers in Belgium. Hugo. And after winning the Golden Boot last season, was just about to be nominated to the national team. Transfer market head of international and Belgian football expert Christian Schwartz said when asked about Cuypers, he has slowed down a bit in the last few weeks, which was visible on the pitch, and his scoring rate has been down. He's 26 years old. Indeed, after scoring 27 goals in 39 Jupiler League Pro League games last season, Cuypers.
It's not Jupiter?
Hugo. It's not Jupiter, right?
Oh, no. You know what? I always thought it was called Jupiter.
I know! Let's go get Jupiler or something.
I'm dyslexic, so I really just sometimes just skip over shit.
And hopefully,
so I've been calling it Jupiter the entire time.
The Belgian Pro League or something like that.
All due respect to Belgium.
Hugo's has managed just 6 goals in 20 games this season. Some of that might have to do with the players around him. I think he's at his best when he plays in a system with 2 center forwards.
Oh,
we heard this again.
No,
Schwartz said,
Jesus.
You could see it perform at his best when he was paired with a fast striker like Orban. Well, boys and girls, this might show what we're
He's like another better version of Casper.
I hope Frank's listening to this part of the podcast because Frank, find your fastest striker who mimics this Orban character. Jerry Orban? No, that's an actor.
Listen, we don't have that player, man. Like,
you might get something out of Kutias. Kutias is fast.
Listen, I'm not sold on that
MLS, that step might be less surprising given his career path. He has a bit of an unusual career path, as he had a big breakthrough in the Greek second division, Schwartz said. Indeed, Cuypers scored 22 goals in 28 second division games for Ergo Teles, a league record for them. From there, he moved to League Two side AC Ajaccio and Greek giants Olympiakos, where he had a difficult time before finally regaining his form with KV Mechelen in Belgium, scoring 13 goals, as I previously mentioned.
And 10 assists.
Olympiakos. 10 assists.
Olympiakos.
Dude, this guy is a... You guys play Football Manager. This guy's a Football Manager legend. And the Chicago Fire got him. Now the 26-year-old is head of the Chicago Fire club in dire need of a top goal scorer. I think he can fill the side. But what we just read makes me realize that Frank has to figure out a way, a mechanism, some sort of formation where he creates that second striker for him to work off of.
Well, if we have a second striker, we lose Guti or Shaq on the field.
Yeah, so it's gonna have to be a 4-4-2. And again, it's gonna hinge on a Costa signing because I don't see us if things stay the same, we're just gonna have a more expensive Casper.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, here's the Chicago Fire's roster. We'll end it with this. The Chicago Fire's roster for the California leg of the preseason. This is per Joe Chats, at Joe Chats. I like to follow him on Twitter. Oh, we don't follow him on here, but now we do. Enemy of the Fire, sorry. But I followed him personally. Goalkeepers, Chris Beatty, Jeff Gall, Patrick Lose, who is a Chicago Fire 2 guy who gets called up because of an injury. Spencer Ritchie, also still there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Spence.
But how are we feeling about this goalkeeper group here?
I mean,
serviceable.
Brady should be able to be one of the league's best if given the right situation, we think.
I feel like Brady needs another 2 or 3 years here in Chicago before making his big move. But, like, I'm afraid, like, we're going to, like, if we start to suck and then he's still showing pretty well, they'll get, and then we'll just be behind the ball.
Defenders, Alan Aragoni, Rafael Chicos, Jonathan Dean, Chase Gaspar, who just recently traded for Andrew Gutman, Wyatt Ohmsberg, he's still here. He hasn't moved off to the Wild Wild West. Justin Reynolds, Carlos Turan, still here. Tobias Salkist.
Well, Turan's hurt.
This seems like a very much upgraded defending unit.
I agree.
I feel confident about the defensive back line.
Well, I got more excited about it. I talked about the theory before, right? Another team signs a guy you never heard of, or like somebody who was like scouted by these teams, but it didn't quite work out. You're like, oh, cool, I got to check him out. And the Fire do it. It's like, oh, he must suck. So, like, that's obviously how I felt about Allegory or whatever. But then, like, now we got the striker, and I'm more positive about that move.
Because again, Aragoni, not Allegory.
Whatever. He was scouted by Chelsea and Barcelona and stuff. And it's like, some of that sometimes does matter. Sometimes people bloom a little later or take a longer winding path.
I guarantee you I know Georg Heitz's favorite video game. And I guarantee you guys, you viewers do too, right in the comments below. Right in the comments below.
Tell him Ready to Do is no longer a cheat code.
It's Football Manager, but what year? Let us know in the comments.
FM 17.
Yeah, 17.
What year of Football Manager is Georg Heitz's favorite Football Manager? Let us know why and what in the comments for this episode. We'd love to read it. For defender midfielder, we've got Mauricio Pineda. He who's still here. He's quality player, but it's just like all of a sudden he found himself just where he seemed like he was the dinosaur that just like, not the dinosaur, I mean, just like tallness. He's got the tallness of a brontosaurus. It's just that he was, going to be the guy. And then all of a sudden overshadowed Navarro, Jimenez, everybody else.
I think he kind of got messed up in that he was a good center back. He was a good center defensive midfielder. And then they were just like, well, we don't know what you are. And we signed guys for both spots. So sit behind him.
And he's a victim of having to like kind of be this weird pivot.
A jack of all trades, a master.
Well, he can't because he's, we have the other guy that's a much better Swiss Army knife tool, which is what's his face, the guy from Germany, the other German we have.
Fabian Herbers.
There you go.
Fabian Herbers, our Swiss Army knife. Well, speaking of midfielders, you got Javier Casas Jr., who seems to be getting more time as time goes on. Gaston Jimenez, Omari Glasgow, Brian Gutierrez, Fabian Herbers, Federico Navarro, Jordan Shaqiri, and Lawrence Wooten.
Lawrence Wooten, huh?
Would you say this is an upgrade on last year? It's similar to last year, but yes. I mean, maybe it's another year of development for Guti, another year of development for Javier Casas, another year of Gaston Jimenez trying to prove that he's not a failure in a Fire jersey.
No, dude, that's like, God, Gaston Jimenez is like the Fire's ex that's always calling like, you up? You still up?
Yeah.
It's like,
leave me alone type of thing.
Tell him you're asleep, please. But no, in all seriousness, man.
The Fire have two wingers, guys.
Okay.
Marin Haile Selassie and Chris Mueller. That's it.
Well, they're going to stick. Well, I mean, they have a right winger who played for Champions League teams and the right wing position that they don't seem to ever, who always drifts outside to the right wing when he plays.
And he's really slow, too.
God.
The cube, man.
Yeah, like could we just maybe play him on the wing and Gutierrez where he's most comfortable?
Potentially, we'll see some things over this year. I don't think Frank is going to be pot committed to maybe he might have ideas. Hopefully he does, but he also has to convince these players of those ideas. The forwards are Tom Barlow, Kutsias, Kasper Przbilko, and Cuypers, Hugo.
So
the other day DPG and I were talking, and I was telling him I want us to develop Kutsias, so I see no reason for Przbilko or Barlow. Like Barlow or Przbilko should just be there in case a catastrophe, right? But like
maybe this explains why there are so many. There are 4 strikers, like we said. Like why are there so many strikers? Maybe because they are going to play 2.
Well, I saw internet chatter of Kutsias playing on the wing, and we did see the kid develop where he stopped tucking his shirt in, but I don't know if he's quite there yet as an MLS starting player. Like it's just we need to see more development.
So you're saying that he got rid of his clean cut,
that hair is still rock solid. That thing's not moving, but he did untuck his shirt, so I am proud of the kid.
All right. I mean, but here's the thing. It's we have a lot of strikers, but if Hugo gets hurt, that's it. Season's done, boys.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. It's a wrap.
It's man. It's who are you gonna rely on at that point? Like, you could throw.
You have to rely on Leo Messi, guys, at that point because the Fire are gonna be cooked. The only thing keeping you entertained in the MLS at that point will be Leo Messi. So you put your Messi channel on, and with Apple TV Plus, whatever it is, you got your ticket secured for whenever they come, and hopefully he plays that game. But as I pointed out, there's a possibility Messi misses Chicago again.
No, don't talk that nonsense. That's not happening. Listen, I have 2 very serious questions for you guys.
Yeah.
I want you guys to crawl your brain into the brain of Klopas, okay?
Mm-hmm.
2 very specific positions where we have players, but if he messes up the roster depth, we're still just as screwed as if we didn't. Let's pretend like we have Acosta. There's Freddie Navarro, there's Gaston Jimenez, and there's Kellen Acosta. What are the starting 2? Who plays? Who do you think Klopas relies on? And then we'll go to the strikers.
Jimenez and Acosta. Or Navarro and Acosta.
I'd rather put Navarro.
You think it's not going to be Navarro and Acosta? It's going to be
that's my theory.
Navarro Acosta makes more sense from tactical build-up.
I hope so. Well, what about so in not your guys' mind, Frank Klopas's mind, what is the striker depth chart?
I don't know. You're saying that he got Chris Mueller above Haile Selassie.
Kutsias is number 2.
Yeah, who's number 2 in the striker?
It's got to be Kutsias number 2 after Cyprus, and then Barlow.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought too. But I'm so curious to know what Klopas thinks.
Well, here's the thing. Let me ask you guys this. Acosta, like, what do you think he's waiting on at this point? Since obviously the European window is closed, he can't go to a European team unless he sits out the spring and wait till summer.
Right now he's just skipping training camp. He doesn't want to do camp, so skip. Like, if you're not going to go to Europe, now you have until what day? February 24th. You know what I mean?
But he could pick a contender
at that point. You could see who's going to be in contention after the first few weeks, and then he's going to
not even that. Just before the first game, even.
Well, that's the thing too. Is why would it sucks that he might choose that route, that he's going to avoid preseason camp, because that means that when the season starts later this month, you're going to have a guy that's going to be out of sync. You don't know how his, I'm hoping he's keeping.
Klopas is vibes, dude. There's not really in-depth tactics there. Like, come on, Kellen Acosta is going to come and have more tactics for the team than Klopas does. At least that's what I think. I don't think Klopas is out there running some serious systems that's going to take Costa more than 4 minutes to figure out.
Acosta is a U.S. men's national team player. The dude's used to fucking origami. Like, pasted on the fucking screen in front of him, like, oh, those are tactics. It's like,
my thing is this:
he can do anything. He'll be able to do anything Frank can throw at him.
I'm hoping that he doesn't come out. He doesn't come to camp, or if he signs for the Fire, he doesn't show up on February 24th for like 20 pounds overweight, and
no way.
He won't be overweight.
No, he's looking to sell jewelry, as Toke said.
Okay. So,
yeah, dude, he's all about it.
And speaking of being all about it, boys, let's start shutting it down because this has been a heck of a freaking podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, the giant size podcast may or may not be a thing. We'll see, but
sometimes it balloons this big. I think it's okay.
I love it. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. We are at Enemies of the Fire on Twitter right now. We'll be at other places. And we are at Enemies of the Fire at gmail.com. So if you have any questions for us, or if you just want to let us know how we're doing, go ahead and reach out. We'll be there. We're around, man. So
thanks for watching. Shares appreciated. Share with fire friends. It's a double entendre. Think about it.
Good night, guys.
It's always better when you point them out, too. That's always so much better. Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Thanks for watching.